are worldwide. Coming at you straight on YouTube, coming at you straight on Twitch. Oh, I also got to press the record button. Oh, so many new things I got to keep track of. And we're recording now. Okay, hi YouTube, hi Twitch, hi YouTube Shorts. And goodbye Kick. You never did me any good. Got to pick your battles somewhere. Well, well, well. Welcome back to the late night live stream, late night studio. I've got my wizard juice in the real flesh world that I am sipping upon, as you can listen to. I have a few things upon my desk. I have Tina TV because I feel like he's a good a good he's representative of this aesthetic to a certain degree. So you can see him there doing his little whatever he's doing, and I also have a new PNG tuber just for the late night streams because I thought I would also try and match that aesthetic. Aesthetic, yes, very aesthetic. And I gotta be a little bit quiet because it's Sunday night and I should not be doing this on a Sunday night, but here we are. And you shouldn't be up either if you're watching this live on a Sunday night. Don't be ridiculous, you little freaks. Alright, let's play Minecraft. Let's play Minecraft now. Do, 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 do. Well, I'll make sure I'm on the right thing here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hold on. Gotta finagle something. Oh man, I'm starting the stream and it's already derailing. It is already derailed. What else is new? It is already derailing. Oh, but you know what? It's probably not a bad idea that it did derail. Um, it's probably not a bad idea that the stream just derailed. Hold on. Where's technical difficulties? Oh man, I'm gonna have to rework things a little bit. Uh-oh. 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 Stop that recording. Okay, I have to stop that recording and start a new one. For your viewing pleasure. For your viewing pleasure. Yes, you. You personally. Yes, that is right. Okay, pretend that like the last 5 seconds or like the past 2 minutes of stream like did not happen. They did not happen. They did not happen. Nothing happened. You saw nothing. You heard nothing. You witnessed nothing. You witnessed nothing, but soon you will witness something. Something that you will. That you will. Indeedery do you will. All right, let's get this. Let's get this back. Let's get this back on track. There we go. There we go. All right. All right. That's looking a little bit more like it. That's looking a little bit more like it. All right. Now I'm going to start the real recording, and now we're really going to get this stream down the road. So let's try all this again. Hello YouTube. Hello Twitch. Hello not Kick. Goodbye Quick. Goodbye Kick. You suck. And yeah, I'm taking a new PNG tuber for a spin. Taking her for a spin. Yes, I am. Kind of trying to fit that, that late night theming. But who on earth would be awake on a Sunday night at this time? Probably someone who's not going out tomorrow because of terrible weather, such as myself. But anyway, with all that said, am I still on the wrong version? Oh well. Oh well. Guess we're not using free cam tonight. Oh, let's get that. Oh man, that's as good as the FOV gets. Why? Okay, I'm going a little bit. I think I'm crashing out a little bit, which is not good because I've just started this stream. But yeah, so see what's going on in the world of Minecraft. Let's turn all the volumes up too. Is the game volume still a little quiet? I'll ask people whenever we get things going with the stream. With the stream. With the stream. So I'm gonna go over this away, and I think I am going to continue with my silly little catacombs project. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Cause what else do I have that's really going for me? Well, more than this, but this is the only thing I really care about that's kind of, it's not even going for me really. It's just, I'm just, every large scale project I do in Minecraft is basically just like a big cope. Like this project here is built on a foundation of cope. That's what this is. Cope and sunk cost fallacies. Really, oh man, I can't pan around. Man, that's gonna screw with me. I'm gonna keep pressing the key that I have assigned to free cam and it's not gonna work. But really this entire Minecraft base is just a giant sunk cost fallacy. That's what this is. But well, before I get to the catacombs, there is a bit of side quest business that I must tend to. I must tend to. So maybe I'll do that before I get into too much trouble. Um, this is what I've done. I've done a little bit of building off camera. You'll have to excuse me, but yeah, I've kind of made this run into the hillside like I said it was, and it kind of goes into the landscape. It works into the landscape, and then there's like this little terrace here, and you can see I've made it kind of carry over onto this, and then I've left these little openings in the top so that light will get down in there and down in here and all of that. So yeah, we'll build whatever top structure, but really I quite like how this is going. I like this because it's like there's another axis for this project, and this project works as the kind of focal point of particularly this axis, this street here. So I think it plays into the scheme a little bit. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty happy with that. It extending itself out into the landscape like that. But I can come up with all these different this or that justifications for the design, and really I'm just pulling stuff out of my butt whenever I say it. I mean, kind of, but also kind of not, but also kind of yeah. Also kind of yeah. I'll acknowledge it. But it also helps you be more, I guess, grounded in whatever thing you're trying to justify. It really lets you bite into it with your teeth, and then the juice comes out of the project, and then it like dribbles all over the table, and it like gets on your fingies and stuff. So now you got like these greasy fingies, and it's nasty. And then you start smearing it all over the wall, and then there's somebody sitting next to you, and you take your greasy fingers, and then you just start smearing it all over their face while they stare at you blankly. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun whenever you take a big bite out of a project. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, so I'm gonna go over here and just start putting all these bad boys in there. All right, and Oh, nuts. All right, that's all right. That's all right. Everything just fits in just right. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. All right. All right. So, before I get too into catacombs, like I was saying, um, I need to first off dump more of my crap in some kind of shulker. And I think this little grassy thing also provides an excuse for me to not clean up my temporary storage, which probably won't get cleaned up now, just like what happened with the museum project. Um, so excuse my ineptitude a little bit. I've been known to do things like this a lot. In my personal life, too. In my real life, I do stuff like this all the time, where I just leave crap in places and don't ever clean it up, unless somebody, like, basically threatens me. Well, not threatens like a real threat, but like, there's different ways that you could threaten a person. Um, yeah. So I feel like I would get a lot more done if somebody was just looming over my shoulder all of the time, you know? So that's why I kind of like doing these live streams because you all kind of hold me accountable a little bit because if there's nobody holding me accountable, it's not good. It's not good for anybody. It's not good for me. It's not good for you. Um, so yeah, in other words, don't leave me to my own devices because I can't trust myself, and you can't trust me either. But that means that these streams are a little bit of a symbiotic relationship then, so we'll consider it a win-win. So now, without further, well, actually, there is a little bit more ado, but just a little bit more ado. Adieu, wee wee. Um, I'm gonna get some shulkers over here, and I'm gonna start cleaning up the ice boat stuff. I'll hand out awards like eventually, because I need to do that as well. Unfortunately, some of the best times are held by both me and Risky. I'm not gonna reward myself because like that's I don't know, like I don't I'm the one issuing them. Why do I need to do that? So I'll probably just discount myself from the awards ceremonies, even though me and Risky Property basically got like the best times. So Leafy Greens here is basically going to be the main winner, and I'll give Risky Property a reward too. He was also a track builder, but I'm the one kind of running the event, so I'll just exclude my times because there's no point. There's no point. No point. I might persuade the server staff next time I do this because I think I will. Now that I kind of have a little bit of an idea of how this works, um, let me take a little. Well, I'll just leave this up for later, just so I can remember the times. But yeah, whenever I do this again in the future, this little ice boat Grand Prix, maybe I'll try and persuade some of the higher ups to maybe install some plugins or something. Uh-oh. uh, let's get that out of here. Fun's over. Fun's over. All right, let's get this track all finagled away. Um, but yeah, maybe some kind of timer plug-in or something would be nice. Some kind of it'd be nice if there's something automatic. I don't know. I feel like there might be something like that. Like um, it wouldn't even have to be a specific ice boat timer plug-in. It could be like just like a parkour timer plug-in that we could repurpose for something like this. I think it's doable, but yeah, we're gonna get this cleaned up now. It's a little bit of an eyesore anyway, having this racetrack run through everything. But yeah, this is a little bit of a, we'll say it was a pilot program of sorts. this whole little ice boat Grand Prix thing. So it managed to get a little bit of interest, and I know next time I decide to do this, which will probably be like a year from now, so I'll have time to think on it, kind of stew on it, because my best ideas are the ones that I stew on. And yeah, we'll come back to this event swinging, uh, 365 days minus a couple months from now. From now, and I guess better keep track of all these things too. So these will all be my Ice Boat World Cup things that I'll have here, like that. I'll keep all the redstone in one spot and then all the other things in one spot so that next year, whenever I do this again, I don't have to go through all the trouble of crafting everything. I'll just have it I'll just have it all ready. I have it all on hand. Then we can just, get the timers and everything installed for next year's track. Then that'll be good. That'll be good. That'll be peachy keen. Peachy keen, if I do say so myself. Get a little silly right now. Can't get too silly. This is the serious chill stream that we're doing. Oh, silliness. Silliness will be in the morning streams, and this channel hasn't even been graced by those yet. Oh, oh, you little freaky perspective viewers. Oh, you don't even know. You don't even know what you're in store for. Okay, there's some. There's gonna be some freaky things coming down the pipeline. You remember that? Remember that, you freaky little chat members. It's on its way. It is on its way. Yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. All right. All right. Okay. Okay. So we got that. Yeah, I'll get all the redstone stuff. I'm gonna get all the redstone stuff cleaned up here, and put all that in there. So I got all that in one place. Then I'll have like all the ice and other blocks and stuff in here. Is the term ice gonna be like one of those shadow ban types of words? Is that what's gonna happen? It's like during COVID you couldn't say COVID. Is that gonna have I already screwed up the channel? I probably already screwed up the channel. Oh God. Oh well. It's a good run, everybody. It's a good run. Oh well. Uh, these you can't talk about these relevant topics. How dare you? How dare you? I also had flowers in the middle of these roads, and I gotta put the flowers back. I don't know where I put all the flowers, but luckily, the good thing about double high flowers is that you can just bone meal them. So that'll solve that problem pretty well. I've been tripping over my words so much lately. I don't know why. It's probably because of the lead exposure. That is only half of a joke, by the way. Also, I'm chewing on gum, and I hope it doesn't. You're not able to hear me smacking my gums. I just now realized that. Yeah, I'm doing that too. I'm smacking my gums. Um, is that registering? I'm looking on my audio bar thing right now to see if my smacky gums are registering. That registers. I think it's registering. Um, I want to take my gum out, and I'm going to ask somebody later, because I don't want this whole stream to be me just smacking my gums. Well, I'll be smacking my gums regardless, but no, we're not doing an ASMR stream. You know what? Maybe I should. Maybe I can kind of tap into the same thing that made ASMR so popular all those years ago just by chewing some gum during these streams. I gotta have something. I gotta have something that sets me apart. Minecraft is an oversaturated topic. I gotta I gotta find my niche so I can what? So what's this? Oh, where'd this come from? Oh, right. This was right. Risky installed that. He's handy with all this redstone stuff. I'll put that in there too. Yeah, it shoots off a firework whenever you go over the finish line. Well, not anymore, but it did. It did do that. Yeah. All right. All right. So we got that. Got that squared away. Cubed away. I'm sorry. We're playing the block game, not the square game. Sorry, you Terraria heads. YouTube Shorts is right here. Right here. I'm the YouTube Shorts guy now. Oh God. This is really what I resigned myself to. Oh well. Yeah, like I've said before, I don't know if I should or shouldn't be honest about this, and I've talked about this before, but the main reason why I'm doing this whole stream thing is because of the well, okay, it's not completely black and white if I'm being completely honest, but part of the reason at least, and I don't know if it's necessarily an overwhelming proportion part of the reason, but part of the reason is that there is this very faint prospect that maybe, just maybe, I can I can make some dough off of this. Um, of course, I'd say most content creators do what they do at least partially for that reason. Some people may do it for the love of the game, but content creation, at least for me, is it's more of a way of an attempt to monetize what I actually do care about, which isn't necessarily the business side of things, but it's just playing Minecraft. That's the main goal. That's the mango, you know? That's that's the mango. That's really what I care about is uh is the block game. The silly block game, but it's also dangerous. And it's dangerous because if you try and monetize something that you are passionate about, well, that kind of drains the passion from it now, doesn't it? There's some people out there that seem to have managed to find a happy compromise in basically just sustaining themselves off of whatever they like to do, which, well, I would be fine with because if I'm doing what I enjoy to do, if I am doing what I enjoy doing, well, that's worth more to me than whatever millions of dollars can buy, you know? I don't know if that makes any sense or if that was kind of a word salad. I've been having some salady words lately, but maybe if you were paying attention and maybe if I was paying attention, maybe that made sense. Of course, having gobs is always helpful. But if you're just living for the geed, you know, the geed consumes you. At that point, it's no longer an aid. You can't go living for the geed. I'll tell you what else is going to be nice about just harvesting, taking this track apart and putting it in a shulker box is that this is also going to make next year's setup a lot easier. I'm going to have all these little bumpers because I remember I had to make all these or buy them or just find ways of getting these, getting a system. What blocks am I going to use? Those are a lot of decisions and just tasks that I won't have to deal with next year. So, you know, do things for the second time, and they're always quite a bit smoother than the first. That's why I made a new YouTube channel. Plus, I had like actual competent, well, semi-competently edited videos, and I really do not like editing. If there's anybody out there that would maybe like to be a prospective editor, I cannot promise like a guaranteed paycheck. Maybe, maybe, no, I'm not even gonna throw myself out there like that because I can't guarantee pay, and that's just, forget that. Forget that. We got to get momentum, we got to get the momentumizing whenever it comes to this before I could even go about the whole getting an editor thing. Unless I get a loan, and even then, that's an incredibly risky investment and an incredibly stupid one at that. I don't even like taking loans out for college. Hmm. All right. All right. Let's keep breaking the track. On the bright side, this will clean up a lot faster than it was set up. So that'll also kind of be a nice buttery smooth thing. If I'm really good about it, I could probably get it all cleaned up tonight. These are good meat brain activities. Stuff like this. These are what I call meat brain activities. I can just I can just yap and kind of let this mental task run in the background. It's like chewing gum. That's why I chew gum, because it helps me focus. It's something for my mouth to do. And so once I kind of get that little, this is I'm chewing on the ice track right now. So if I can just chew on this, I can just let the other thing kind of flow out. I don't know if that makes sense. I have to have like a secondary meat brain task going on to like keep the meat brain busy while I do mental tasks. Keep it busy or it will consume you. It will consume you. What else is going on? What else is going on that I can talk about? What other hot button issues are relevant except for politics? I'm not talking about politics in this stream. I don't. It's such an insufferable subject. I mean, it's an important subject. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not really in the mind space, or I don't feel like convincing anybody right now, making points. Oh, looks like the new Streambo's out there. I'm getting that on Twitch. Someone else is, well, they finally cracked down on the Streambo bot viewers, and now they're giving me adverts for SMM Best. I can't even mispronounce it like I mispronounced Streambo. Where's the fun in that? Everything's getting ruined. This is yet another ruinous year. Oh, woe is me. Woe is me. Oh, woe. Oh, woe. Oh, woefully. Oh, woe, Mr. Obama. Dedicated wham for the Minecraft solve. This server's been running alright. Sometimes it runs a little crunchy, but it's not very crunchy today, which I think is a good thing. Crunchy servers. We love them. Yes, we do. 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 I have a paper due on Wednesday. They're already, I mean, it's not a big paper. I mean, it's a meeting. Papers are an excruciating task for me, but I'm in college, so I have to write them. I have a 1,500 word paper due Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Have I written any of it yet? No. Um, should I be writing it right now? No, not really. I'm kind of mentally not there right now, so it's probably for the best. I found that and this is probably just like a normal human thing, but like in the morning, I usually have my most like mental motivation, and then it just gradually gets worn down throughout the day. I guess that's just like a normal human thing, but sometimes it's helpful to draw attention to it at least. At least that's what I've found. But yeah, I have the most motivation during the morning, and then I just gradually get worn down throughout the day, which is part of the reason, among other reasons, as to why I think the nighttime streams are more mellow. This is this is just I'm kind of tired and I'm kind of spent up. You're getting like watered down motivation guy. Watered, yeah, watered down. Watered down. Here comes the waterworks. Hey Melly, this is it's my nighttime PNG tuber. I'll still have the other tuber for like morning streams, but I thought uh, I thought I'd kind of fit the nighttime aesthetic, you know? I was able to kind of stylize it a little bit. So yeah, that's what's going on there. How you doing, Melly? What are you doing up this late on a Sunday night? Why? What? You're it's probably Monday morning for you, isn't it? Monday morning for you. The sun's probably peeking over the hills for you. Millie says, I just got off my PC. It's Monday morning. Well, that sounds pretty cool. You got anything on your agendas for the week? 4:38 a.m. Oh God. Good God. Millie says, so the sun's not up for hours. um, yeah, you're in the witching hours. That's what you're in. You're in the magician minutes. Millie says, I need to book an appointment for my eye test. Oh, you got blurry vision? You gonna go get glasses or contact lenses or something? Is that what's going on? Somehow I still have my vision pretty good. I don't know why or how, because I've just been staring at screens since the age of 3. I was the test subject iPad child. I did that like 10 years before it even had a name. Melly says, like every few years they make me redo an eye test to see if I need new glasses. That sounds fun. That sounds fun. I feel like it's like a different life experience, like having glasses. That's a whole different deal. Millie says, my eyesight keeps worsening. Oh, well, at least they got a lens for that. Would, do carrots, does eating carrots like help your vision, or is that like a myth? Is that like a real thing? Maybe you could like eat carrots or something. I don't know. It's a myth. Oh. Is there anything that you could like consume to like keep your eyes healthy? I don't know. Melly doesn't know either. Oh, that's interesting. Melly says the myth was made up by the British during the Second World War. Was that like a propaganda thing? Like were they trying to get the enemy to eat their carrot reserves or something? I don't know. They came up with that myth to hide the fact that they had radar technology against Germany. Also, they tried to get the Germans to think that they were all just eating carrots, then getting their beta carotenes. Huh. Germans didn't have radar. We did. That's interesting. Yeah, sometimes wars do spur a little bit of forced technological growth. That's the one thing we can kind of credit wars for, I guess, but also there's kind of a ambient baseline, you know, technological development that happens during peacetime as well. Yeah, wars always force innovation. That's right. Yeah, it's more of a chance during peacetime. You know, things get done out of necessity. Yeah. It's sort of like what I was saying earlier, like a few minutes ago. It's like, well, you know, you tend to be more productive whenever you're held accountable, and wars would hold you accountable for sure. You know, like I do things I wouldn't have done otherwise if I if I was, how do I word this? If I wasn't streaming, I probably wouldn't be as productive in game as I am right now. You know, because now people are watching me. So now I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta do something. I gotta, you know, I'm in the zone. You know, I'm moving, I'm doing the thing. I gotta be doing something. That's, you know, you gotta have someone leaning over your shoulder. You know, at least that's how I am. Like sometimes like before I'm about to go to bed, I might be in like a call with my friends or something, and I'll just ask one of them to tell me to get up and go brush my teeth. Because if I don't, I'll get comfortable and just not brush my teeth. But then I don't know, somebody says, Glitchy, go brush your teeth, and I'm like, oh my God, I really don't want to brush my teeth. But then I do, and then I do, and then and then my teeth are brushed. And so that was necessary. That had to happen, you know. It's sort of like that. Melly says, "I'm very stubborn." Oh, well, that trick might not work for you then. You see, for me, I'm a pushover. I'm a pushover. So whenever someone tells me to do something, I'll do it. You know. So yeah, maybe that's not a one size fits all trick. I didn't quite consider that. Didn't quite consider that. That's a fair point that you made, Melly. I am absolutely. I fold. I fold in cases that I should not fold. But yeah, that's it's not good. It's not good. I'm an instrument. I'm an like a yeah. It's bad. I'm an instrument of whoever's will suggests something to me, basically, to a certain degree. Melly says, so yeah, I gotta go get my eye test sometime this week. I bet my eyesight's worse. Melly says, I'm short-sighted. Huh. Except it's officially moderate short-sightedness. Well, I guess those terms are kind of relative. They are kind of relative. But I hope you get all that sorted out. You know, if I ever do lose my vision, I don't know. I don't know if I should or shouldn't, but I feel like I should get like some like nice round glasses. I don't know. Round glasses just kind of speak to me, you know? Melly says, my left eye is short-sighted by like negative 3.5. My right eye is short-sighted by negative 4.25. I don't quite know what to do with that information, but anything below 3.5 is considered moderate. Oh, I see. Yeah, I don't quite have a gauge of, what certain measures of eyesight actually mean. It's like whenever someone describes something in like, I don't know, like BTUs or something. Like there is a metric for that. I just haven't quite grasped it yet. Melly says, anything below 3. Oh, wait, I already read that. Melly says, it's kind of like within 6 feet of distance for me is more like 420 feet for me. Oh, I see. Well, that sounds pretty, that sounds pretty short-sighted then. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty dang short-sighted. Do you have a certain aesthetic preference whenever it comes to your glasses? Or, Millie says, I have to wear glasses for life. It's like paying a subscription to see. Oh man, they locked that behind a paywall too. Oh God. Yeah, blurry vision is the watermark of life, Millie. That's what that is. That's the trial version. Millie says, if I have to get new glasses, I want rounded ones as well. Yeah, I I like that shape. I wonder, is there a certain reason though as to why there are irregularly shaped glasses? Is it just an aesthetic thing, or is there a practical reason for that? Maybe it's just a technological reason. I don't know. Again, I'm not a glasses wearer, so Melly says it's just aesthetic. It might be. It may be. Melly says, like when you pick your glasses, you have to pick your frame. Yeah, you gotta pick the frames, pick the colors. Melly says, and the different frames cost different amounts of money. Huh, that makes sense, I guess. And then they make the lenses around the frame. Yeah, glasses making is definite. It's like a trade almost, you know? It is like a trade. There's a lot of skill that goes into that, I bet. It's like suits, like suit making and dressmaking and tailoring and all of that, like carpentry. Melly says, I currently have rectangular glasses, but I don't really like them too much. Round is always fashionable. Melly says, I think rounded glasses would make me look more feminine. They might. They might. Personally, I'm kind of partial to, I guess we can say perfect shapes like squares and circles and those types of shapes. I'm partial to those. I just think they're good forms, and so I wouldn't mind using those shapes also to express um, myself in a way. And perfect doesn't necessarily mean best. I'm just thinking of, shapes that are equal. But I think there is something kind of universal to a circle. It goes beyond just our idea of what a circle is, because they emerge in nature, they emerge, on in all sorts of ways and places, and they're a very natural thing. Let's see, what was I doing? I'm starting to lose track of myself now. Oh, that's right. I was looking for that one little sliver of street that I chopped up. I think it's in here somewhere, or one of these boxes. I had just a little sliver of street that I gotta replace here. Ah, that might be it. I think I might be able to do something with all these blocks. Might be able to do something. I think these might have been the ones I took out in the first place. I don't know. I think I streamed whenever I put up this track, but I don't know if I streamed that particular part. So if there's any sleuths out there, I'll give you brownie points if you figure out that if those were the original blocks that were there or not. That would be a very unfun search, but sometimes people like unfun things. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of searching for things. Some people like it. Melee says, I'm kind of half here, half not here right now. I'm half on Discord, Melly says. So when I'm on Discord, I kind of stop paying attention. Oh, that's fine. You know, you come and go as you please. I don't necessarily take offense to someone popping out. You shouldn't feel obligated to, watch these things. But I certainly do appreciate viewership. You're one of the real ones. You're one of the super fans. Oh, well. Uh, it was sort of. Well, I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know exactly what was. Just don't, don't worry too much about it. That's what I'm saying. Don't worry too much about it. What's Apple doing? What is Apple doing, Melly? Yeah, yeah, that's fair enough. That's a fair point. Oh, Melly says Apple is adding extra words to my sentences. Yes, we love we love your seamless integrations, Apple. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for doing all the things that you didn't need to do. I wouldn't necessarily consider Apple to be very bloated, though. I wouldn't consider it to be a bloated ecosystem of devices, but it definitely has its own, uh, well, I have my own gripes about it. If it was up to me, I'd be a droid man myself, but I'm still using the phone that was given to me in high school. So I'll put up with Apple. I'll put up with it, at least until the phone craps out, which it's holding up pretty well for being 5 years old. Yeah, it is very locked down. There's a very standard experience that you're forced to have with Apple. That is very true, Melly. That's very true. But if you're kind of like not good with technology, it does make it easy, you know. And I guess that's kind of what they were trying to do in the first place anyway. Melly says the big killer with old phones is like batteries. And that is true. But also, I can go take this into the shop and get the battery replaced for like $100, which, it's not cheap by any means, but well, maybe like 120 or something. And it's not cheap, but it sure beats a phone bill, like paying for the phone. Melly says, once your bat cap gets low enough, your phone starts to not receive enough power, and so it throttles the performance on your phone and then eventually crashes your stuff. It also likes to overheat. I did not know that. I did not know that, but I mean, my phone still fulfills uh, pretty well what 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 I need it to fulfill. I haven't had any issues with it, so it's been all right. The phone's been all right. Yeah. And they are pretty all right with the user friendliness too. I do agree with that. But some good things, some bad things, some things that aren't just simply aren't meant for me. That's all that is. And I can't get out of, oh, that's right. Get my Elytra on. There we go. I knew something was wrong. Yeah, that's another thing I don't like about Apple. Charge you premiums. Make it premium. I really don't like it whenever companies do that. I know some people like luxury. Um, in my opinion, it's golden handcuffs. That type of stuff is. I like to have the luxury of not having to worry about something breaking. In my mind, reliability is a luxury, but I may be in the minority, which, well, I'm kind of glad they don't charge a premium for actually practical, useful things most of the time, at least unless it's necessary. So I'm all right if most people don't consider reliability to be that much of a luxury. Yeah, that's a good way of thinking of it, Melly. Apple is like gilded luxury. That's right, it's gilded. That's a great way to describe it. Yeah. Or I think of like certain European cars, like BMWs and all of that. They'll run real smooth. They'll be nice and you know like that, and then they'll start leaking oil everywhere. It's like that. That's especially where I'm gonna kind of getting at the whole reliability thing. But I guess kind of the nature of luxury is that it's this exclusive thing that not everybody can have. And if you have a car that breaks pretty quick, well, having one that runs right and is new and everything, you know, being able to afford the maintenance on that car would be kind of an addition to that exclusivity of the luxury. Melly says, Apple's phones are actually behind technology compared to their competitors, but they market adding those features to their phones as them innovating. Beautiful. They did innovate at one point. Maybe not that much now. I feel like you kind of starting to hit some technological walls whenever it comes to computing and all of that. At least as to how efficient we can make a small package. Millie says, like on most Androids, you don't really have a big notch at the top of the phone. Like a big notch, like the speaker thing that's on the top of Apple's, the speaker thing that always gets grimy crust in it. That thing. I got a little like speaker thing on my phone. Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, the black ring at the top of the screen. Yeah, it's got 5 years worth of finger grease in it. It's my manly lanolin. Oh God, why did I say that? Oh no, I need more wizard juice. Oh God. Millie says, Apple has only begun to make it smaller in recent years. Huh. Yeah, I guess I never really noticed that other phones don't necessarily have that thing on it, but yeah, that's kind of a stupid. It's a stupid. What you said they made the little notch a dynamic island? What is a dynamic island? I've never I've never heard of that. I have an SE, iPhone SE. I don't necessarily know what a dynamic island is. Oh, Millie says older Samsung flagships also have 120 hertz screens, while Apple's comparative screens only have like 60 hertz. Man, you know a lot about specs and stuff. I don't even I don't even know what that means, but is that like how bright it gets? Like that? Or like hertz? Like I don't even know what you're really talking about, but it sounds like Apple is behind in that. The refresh rate. Oh, I see. I see. Okay, I'm starting to I think we're starting to speak the same language now. You spec head, going and researching all this stuff. Good on you. It's good to know what's good. Yeah. The only specs I'm really good at, well, that I'm sort of okay at talking about is car specs. I don't know too much about the tech specs. Also, should I turn up the Minecraft game volume? That's another question I've been meaning to ask. Melly says, I think Apple has 120 hertz screens on their iPhone 17 lineup. Oh, Melly says, yeah, I can't hear Minecraft at all. Uh-oh. Let me go into my system settings and fix that for you. I'm gonna fix that. I'm going to make it all better. Yes, I am. Oh, how's that? Is that too loud? That might be too loud. No, it doesn't register as very loud. That might be all right. That might be okay. Uh, just let me know. These are pretty loud. Or maybe they need to be. I don't know. Just keep me in the loop on that, I guess. Okay, Melly can hear it now. Cool beans. Cool beans, bro. I'm gonna go get some more shulkers. I underestimated how much it would take to box all this racetrack up with. Should Minecraft be louder? That's my next question. Should it be louder or softer? Here's another thinker for ye. Something that could be a bit louder. Could be a bit louder, she says. Alright, well, we'll crank it up. Just a couple notches. There you go. There you go. Got it nice and cranked up for you. There. To create an immersive streaming experience. Just for you. Just for you, the viewers. Wow. Wow. Holy cannoli. There. Let's combine these stacks. It's nice getting all this cleaned up. I did enjoy having the racetrack through here, but it has overstayed its welcome a little bit, I think. I still will need to do a little bit of an award ceremony thing eventually. That's another thing that I need to do. I'll get that squared away at some point. Need to dish out some awards for the winners. This event was kind of a hack job, but if I do this again, it'll be more official, I think. A little bit more official. Make sure to clean up all my stuff. Make sure to save every little bit. Melly says, my phone personally is still fine for me. Another year or two, maybe. Which model do you have, Melly? You speckhead. You should know what model phone you have. iPhone 13. Wow. Yeah. Plus there's the fact that, you know, they're just the amount of extra performance they can cram into each model is becoming less and less each year, so why replace your phone every year other than some kind of dumb status thing? I'm sorry, it's dumb in my opinion. You know, some people like dumb things. Yeah, Melly says, you don't replace your iPhone every year unless you're like either a mega fan or dumb. Dumb, stupid, or an enthusiast. Okay. Some people are just enthusiasts, I guess. I guess I can't crap on something that somebody else cares about. Not too much, at least. We all care about something in this world. Melly says, enthusiasts are always being on the latest and greatest. For the average consumer, though, you should be replacing like every 4 years. Yeah, that seems like an alright rule of thumb. Yeah, I'm not going to replace my iPhone anytime soon, though. But I suppose 4 years is a pretty good rule of thumb for their little pocket computer. Yeah, yeah, just fix it when it's broke. Fix it when it's broke. Oh, what's your little brother's phone like, Melly? Is it like got cracks in the screen or something? Did he throw it down the stairs? Maybe kick it down the street? Flush it down the toilet? Try to go underwater with it? Dropped it in a boiling pot of water? There's all sorts of opportunities for technological destruction. Oh, Melly says, his battery capacity is at that critical point I mentioned earlier, where the performance falls off a cliff. That's another thing I don't like about Apple, is that even though you can replace components, um, they're not easy to replace, nor can you replace them on your own, which really doesn't make much sense to me. I don't like how, whoopsies, I don't like how sleek and seamless they make everything. It's very insidious in my opinion. Insidiously seamless. I don't care much for that. I want to see screws, I want to see tabs, and I don't care if it's incredibly thin and slim, if it gets in the way of practicality. Millie says, and they're like that because they want you to buy new products. Exactly. It's icky. It's very icky. I'm not here for that. I'm not a fan of their general stance on those things. Yeah, planned obsolescence. You're exactly right. It should be illegal, but I don't know. Um, it might just be a matter of someone showing up to Apple HQ and persuading them in one way or another. People, like I said earlier, people respond when they're really held accountable. Oh, well, listen, Melly. You don't think you could persuade things just by yourself, but wow, you can. I think I think one person has more influence than they'd like to admit. That's true. Yeah, that is true. The whole lightning cable thing, switching them out for USB-C, that was a good change. I'm glad they did that. Hmm. Millie says because the EU was imposing fines. Well, that's not to say things don't get done through legal routes. I suppose I'm coming at this from a perspective of a broken legal system in the United States. So that's the perspective that I'm coming at that with. You know, the system. How do you persuade people when the system isn't working? That's there's the real question. Oh, but then Apple stopped including plugs in their products. That's icky. That's another icky thing. That's ridiculous. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, that's really kind of stupid. Like, especially charging $40 for a USB-C cable. Well, then again, you don't have to buy Apple's cable now, do you? You could buy a third-party cable just as easily. Of course, whenever I buy third-party things, they always have this problem where they start shorting out after an unreasonably short amount of time. Melly said, plug, not cable. What, what do you mean plug? Like the plug for the phone? Or like, oh, wait a minute, the part that plugs into the wall. I got you, I got you. Well, that's even more solvable than a cable, really. Yeah, I don't think that's that much of a problem. And I got plenty of those around my house. Still, though, it's the Apple treatment. I wish they'd bring back headphone jacks, personally. Oh, Ellie says, well, yeah, up to the iPhone 13, it's lightning cables on the other end. After 13, it's USB-C completely. Oh. You really do know a lot about iPhones. It's kind of impressive. Melly says, so that means if you don't get their plug, you have to find one exactly like that for cheaper. Yeah. Or buy a new cable with your plug. It's it's a racket. It's a racket. Hmm. What is their justification for not selling plugs? What is that? Oh, saving the environment, reducing plastic in shipping. Oh, okay, okay, Apple. Just package it in paper or some kind of microfiber biodegradable material, and then that wouldn't be a problem, now would it, Apple? Yeah, that's a stupid reason. If you want to cut back on plastic, don't use plastic, nerd. Not very enlightened now, are we, Apple? I don't know. I feel like a lot of holes have been poked in that technological enlightenment type of air. A lot of holes have been poked in that in recent years, and I think it's for the better. It means we can start using serifs again. Melly says, I think we should have never stopped using plastic straws. Why is that? I mean, I do any, well, we never stopped using them in America. We still use plastic straws, but I have used paper ones at a few places, and they do get kind of weird and mushy. I've seen Starbucks use some kind of like, I think it was like some kind of biodegradable plastic straws, and they were all right. I mean, they crumbled pretty easy, but they're a little bit weaker than regular plastic straws, but they definitely got the job done. I don't really know how biodegradable they were, or maybe that was just like a fake thing. Maybe they were trying to make me think that they were biodegradable. I don't know. Melly says, the whole reason why we moved off of plastic straws was because the big companies wanted to make us responsible for them damaging the environment. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's, you know, and that certainly is a thing that they do is, they'll just blame the consumer, but also I don't know. I think moving off plastic straws is a good way to help that. I mean, if they don't offer if they don't offer plastic straws, they will not get in the environment. I mean, I think that's a fine, at least in my eyes, I think that was an all right move. I mean, they shouldn't blame you for that. Most definitely not. But I mean, less plastic is less plastic. Maybe there could be other forms of packaging that would be more impactful, though. Yeah, yeah, I can see that. The whole, um, yeah, that whole thing. It shouldn't be used as a justification again to pass the blame to you all for something like that. Yeah, that's bad. That is bad. Oh no, that whole environmental thing. That's a difficult subject. It gets more difficult the more I think about it. I mean, the way the ends are clear. The ends are clear cut, and what should be eliminated is pretty clear cut. But actually implementing that and thinking through the effects that these things would have on our lives, that's really where all the complexity and grindiness of it all comes in. Yeah, yeah, companies can't be trusted with the environment. That is true. Well, they can't be trusted with the environment in a system that incentivizes practices that are bad for the environment. And it's also important to keep the companies away from the incentives or away from the controls of the incentives, which is why lobbying is bad. Oh, and now we're getting. Hold on. Hold on. That's getting a little too close to politics. I said I wouldn't talk about politics too much this stream, but we can talk about environmentalism, I suppose. It all kind of gets intertwined at some point, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It is omniscient. Omniscient. Indeed, it is. Yeah, get those fossil fuels out of there. You're right on that one, bestie. But also, like, construction equipment might need it. I mean, you see, this is where the complexity comes in. Like, cars, sure, we could probably get rid of them for cars, but also public transit would probably be the best implementation. But also, we need like rails in this country because we all we have is a bunch of roads, and we also have built all of our towns and cities based off of roads. So you would need to basically change all of the built infrastructure, the majority of the built infrastructure, and change the city layouts in order to accommodate rails and pedestrian activity and cycling and all of that. You could only do that in order to reliably get rid of cars. And the other alternative is like electric cars, but like also emissions are made in the production of electric cars, and also tires and tire particulates and the disposal of tires, which often involves burning. We're screwed, at least infrastructurally. I mean, we would need some kind of serious overhaul, is what we would need. Like literal, fundamental, like every single little town, like it would be, and of course, that's not to say the scope of a big change like that would be unprecedented, because how did we get all this infrastructure and stuff in the first place? But it would be a generations long overhaul of everything. That's really what would be required, I think. It's zoning laws, it's infrastructure, it's yeah. Yeah, we've basically done to our country what a 21-year-old does with cigarettes. Like, stay off the cigarettes, man, or you're gonna get societal lung cancer. That's basically what happened. We yeah, we grew up on cigarettes, and we're gonna expire on lung cancer. Ellie says America was like 130 years old when cars were made, so like basically half of our history. Oh God. Oh God. Wait, no, no, not 100. Well, I mean, yeah, kind of 130 years. Well, wait a minute. Wait, is that right? The country's 250 years old now. So 250 minus 130. No, wait. Yeah? 250 minus 130 is, well, yeah, that was like 100. Yeah, you're right, Melly. You're right. You're right. You're right, Melly. Because, yeah, because 1907, the year that the Model T was released, is, about 120 years ago. 119, I think, 1907. So, yeah. So, like, kind of half of our history has been car-centric. Good God. That's kind of weird to think about, isn't it? Yeah, yeah, that's true. You Europeans have thousands of years to look upon. Here's something else weird to think about. I read once that about 80% of all the built things in this country have been built within the past like 50, like 40 years. It's like the 80s. So there's another weird thing to think about. So again, you know, I think these things could be undone as fast as they were done. It's just, I don't know how locked in we are, you know? Yeah. Yeah, we've just started fundamentally from a weird place. Didn't quite know the ramifications of everything before it was actually done and measured. Because how are you supposed to know? 1950s post-war period and all that. Oh, oh well. Oh well. That's just something we gotta deal with now, I guess. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, maybe whenever I'm a very old man, maybe we'll finally start, I don't know, fixing the problems or something. Here's another weird thing to think about. My grandma, who is like 80, has been alive for like 1/3 of this country's life. Because, well, a little less than 1/3. So there's another weird thing to think about. The states haven't been around very long. That's what I'm saying. Not in the grand scheme of things, at least. Millie says, my great-grandfather is like 90 this year. Wow. So your great-grandfather's been alive for 1/3 of it all. Little over 1/3 of it all. Hmm. Probably remembers 1/3 of it. That's kind of impressive to still have a great-grandparent around. Millie says, that means he's been around for 35% of the history. Well, since it's been a nation at least, people were here doing stuff for like a couple hundred years before that too. You know, that's also a thing that people, you don't necessarily acknowledge, but there was like history before the history like started. People don't really talk about that too much, but that was a thing. That was a thing as well. Millie says, here's something really weird to think about. All right, hit me with it. Hit me with it. I like weird thinkers. Oh no, not this one again. We're closer to 2050 now than 2000. That is strange. That is strange. I don't feel like too much is. I mean, well, I say that. We're probably. I think people kind of misgauge how time has been progressing because at least on paper, 1980 seems more radically different than 2000 was, but it could just be that we're witnessing like a certain long-lived zeitgeist that I think is changing. It's, you know, a different era. That's that could be why things seem to have not changed as much, but I'd say I'm willing to bet that things will have changed more radically between now and 2050 than things have changed between 2000 and now. That's my bet. That's true. The world in the 2000s is very different than today's world. I think it's going to be even more radically different by the time 2050 rolls around. I don't think the things that are going on right now can be sustained. These are like temporary event type things. I think we're kind of settling into something. We're kind of in a weird middle phase. The old world is dying, and the new world struggles to be born. Melly doesn't expect too much for 2050. It might not be that much. I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody can predict the future. Nobody. Nobody. Melly doesn't expect that much because she sees that things have had a massive cultural shift with the rise of the internet. Well, yeah, that's true. I don't know if we'll ever have another internet scale thing happen anytime soon. That's kind of a that was kind of a big deal. I don't know. Oh, it's kind of hard to top that. Worldwide information systems and whatnot. I don't know where my other esponges went. Oh, there they are. There's one. I had seven. I had seven. Did I leave one up there? Hello? Hello, Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs, where you at? I think I might have lost one forever. Oh well, it's gonna happen one of these days. Dang. Alright. We are more interconnected today than ever before. Welcome to the World Wide Web. I found my old computer mouse today, but I think I remember why I wasn't using it that much, because it's kind of got a weird, the right click is kind of bugged out. I must have dropped it in something goopy at one point. Maybe I'll take it apart and clean it out or something. Melly says, the only thing I can think that will shift things radically in the next 24 years is AI. Yeah, and it may. I don't think it's going to be as radical as they're making it out to be. I think the AI stuff is going to be, well, first you have to remember that, and for as many problems as this has caused, it's been put in the world. These things have been built and put in the world, and you can't just undo that. But the data centers have been built, uh, electric and water infrastructure for those data centers is being built, and I think that is an infrastructure that we are going to be reliant on from now on. Yeah, and the bubble will pop, but also, these are things that I think will be integrated in our lives in some form or fashion from now on, because well, look at the dot-com bubble, for instance. Um, it happened, it popped, it did pop, but we still use websites every day, and there's a lot of useful things that websites do still, even without the hype. It's not going to do everything, but um, it has some very important use cases that we use every single day. Melly says, um, Melly says, I was against the idea of the bubble popping initially. It seemed like false hope to me, but like we recently learned a lot about how OpenAI is running things. And yeah, I don't think they're running things great. I'm not saying that, but I'm talking about the technology itself instead of this little hype train that's been going around it, you know? It's fundamentally, what it does is it takes information, it digests that information, and then it creates its own interpretation of that information. And this, it's not necessarily a technology that's new or innovative by any means, but it's also kind of having this like fundamental, like there's something on a fundamental level that it's doing, and it's creating these new emergent effects from those fundamental thoughts that it's having, or I don't know, it's kind of, that's kind of a word salady type of thing, and I'm a little bit sleepy, so there's some salad there, but I'll just come at it with a practical use case that I can think of that I've kind of used before as an example is the waste problem, Well, you have a technology that can identify things, and it can it's able to see patterns, and it's able to sort things very well. So you send it into a garbage dump, if you let it know what garbage feels like and what it looks like, and it's able to interpret it. I could see it like sorting through our trash and solving some um, waste problems that way. And more importantly, it's doing the thinking and sorting part that made it so unfeasibly expensive in the past. So that's a new possibility. It's a matter of implementing it with certain hardwares that don't just make visual things. It actually does something tangible in the real world. Melly says the technology itself won't advance without the hype train. OpenAI is like buying RAM with money it hasn't even made yet. The AI companies have literally bought all the RAM production for this year and next year, and they haven't even made that money yet. Yeah, and I think it's stupid to, again, it's just like, it should do things other than just the visual stuff. I think the real benefits that we're going to get from this tech, well, as long as it doesn't ruin people's lives before we get the benefits, which it things will be upset. I'm not saying that, and I think even my what I'm studying and going into the field of is going to be upset by this, and I might personally um, be um, at a disadvantage because of this technology, but I don't know. I feel like it could do things that it just hasn't done yet because it hasn't been linked up to the correct hardware yet. By hardware, I mean ways of physically manipulating the world rather than just, again, operating as a visual kind of hypothetical medium. It is kind of like a weird Ponzi scheme, just like anything in the stock market is, really. Yeah, no. And I do think there will be a crash, and it's already crashing. It is already crashing, but so did the dot-com bubble. Look at uh, look at computers, just regular computers. That was the hype technology of the 1980s, and some people said it was just a fad and that it wouldn't take off, and maybe for a few years they were right, but its use case, its usefulness was found. Like computers are in everything right now. Classical computers are, but they were implemented silently. They happened very quietly, but eventually they kind of did proliferate themselves. Melly says, they either have to sell or risk going obsolete. If AI continues to be unprofitable, I think if the technology advances, it will become much more feasible. Yeah, and I really don't know if it's a matter of throwing more power at it. I really don't, because I feel like maybe some of the lesser models were able to do these things that I'm talking about that a more powerful model, wouldn't necessarily you wouldn't necessarily need the extra power for it. Like just ask it to sort things and it can go and sort them, you know? Um, would it really be that difficult to get think of another use case like a robotic arm with a camera on it and you want it to fold your laundry. I think I think AI could very quickly identify a t-shirt and then kind of figure out which way is upright, and then, you know, then it could tell the mechanical arm what to do and fold the shirt for you, right? That's where I really see the use case in it, like actual just doing things that we don't like to do instead of making art, which is stupid and dumb. They're using it for the wrong reasons. They're trying to use it to prove itself now. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of word salading. I'm word salading. Yeah, It's being misused and nobody's buying. That's the current problem. You're right. You're right. I don't know. Another example, another what is it? Not an allegory, but a what's it called? Allegory. Um, it's not allegory. It's like whenever I don't know what the word is, but basically you give somebody look, you give somebody a kitchen knife and they can either chop off your fingers with it or you can use it to make a nice salad. Okay? Don't chop somebody else's fingers off with the kitchen knife. Just make the salad, you know? It can do either. It can do either. We shouldn't get rid of kitchen knives because somebody lost their fingers to it one time. Just don't chop other people's fingers off and make laws telling the knife not to, or telling the person with the knife not to chop people's fingers off because that's stupid and dumb. Yeah, they're stabbing the walls with the kitchen knife. Yeah, they're carving drawings into the walls and ruining the structural integrity of the house. That's what they're doing. I think eventually they'll figure out how to use a knife though. That you can make good things with a kitchen knife. Melly says where fingers start getting cut off. Oh, there's still some finger cuttage going on here, as well as the carving into walls. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, with the AI art stuff. Yeah, yeah, that's where the fingers get cut off. Oh yeah, by frame people. Yeah. Yep. That's stuff they need to just like really crack. I think if they really crack down on that with laws, like people are gonna like be like, nope, nope, not doing that anymore. Just crack down on it, like be zero tolerance about it for a while, and then that'll scare people out of being stupid with it. Just treat it like any other internet crime. Someone starts doing that type of thing, send the police over, have them interrogate them, have whatever that guy is from To Catch a Predator, just have him come back and start a news show like that, show up at people's houses and shame them publicly. Public shame is a very powerful deterrent. Yeah, I saw a AI video the other day, and I was like, oh no, I could like there's a certain like haze to them. Like there's like a certain like kind of catch on to it after a little while with the AI videos. It's like a weird staticky stuff. That's how you're able to tell, but sometimes it's kind of tough, especially if it's like edited into a normal video. Then it gets really difficult. I don't know. It's weird stuff, man. It's weird stuff. I don't know. Just gotta figure it out before it figures us out. It's probably already figured us out. It's probably like, I don't know, it's probably got some kind of ulterior motives for all we know. We don't know what it's thinking. They're coming up with a whole psychology for it, like AI psychology. Melly says, I think AI is still far from full sentience. I don't know. I don't know if it's sentient or not. I think it depends on your definition. Because I don't even know what sentience is for me. You don't know what it is for you. I mean, it's not necessarily a black and white type of thing. Like, it has to come from somewhere, and I think it comes from sentience comes from some kind of molecular level. Like, it's just like a property of matter. Like, it's just like, okay, well, if you arrange these atoms in this certain way, they'll behave in this way, and then the actual sentience is just kind of a byproduct, I guess. Well, a byproduct and also a driver. I don't know. Melly says, sentience, in my definition, is being able to think and act for yourself. We can think and act for ourselves on our own behalf. We don't wait for someone else's input. AI still does. I don't know. I don't know. I'm of the assertion that everything is sentient to some degree. I think of it I think of it as like tuning into like a radio. Like whenever the atoms are all scrambled, like before they get arranged into a life form, it's like static. But then within life or whatever it is, kind of tunes it. It tunes it and makes it able to kind of perceive the world and act on it. That's how I think of sentience. It's like tuning a radio station, and eventually you get this order that you can kind of recognize patterns in. That just seems to be a way of, at least for me, explaining it on a way that kind of works under that theory that it is just a property of matter. Analogy, that was the word I was looking for earlier. Analogy, yeah. Yeah. Melly says, I think there are different levels of sentience. Yeah, I think so too. But Melly still doesn't think AI is sentient. I don't know. I don't know. There might, maybe another theory, another crackpot theory I could also kind of insert into this is that maybe there are different, um, like, access points of a sentience. Like, for me, the access point for my sentience is internal. It's in my head somewhere, it's in my brain somewhere, and that's the interface that I'm able to access my sentience. Maybe there's different access points for sentience. Like, there's something going on inside of the AI that it goes and it displays this sentience on, or whatever you might call it, on the screen. And the screen is one access point. It's one um, visual display. The screen is like the computer screen for whatever's going on the inside. It's more of a it's more of a I don't know, like a it's like a portal between our internal sentience and the computer's internal sentience. Maybe this is just a crackpot theory, and like it's like a window in between those. It's like a linkage point in between like whatever the AI is thinking and whatever we're thinking. Like it happens in between that monitor and you. And maybe that also works with the digital computer. So maybe under that theory, digital computers are also sentient to some degree. I don't know. But there's something happening inside of this thing that is, it can only really be quantified and understood by us on the monitor. I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of having trouble thinking about it too because I'm like again like sleepy, so I'm not like on my A game. But yeah, the human brain is the only organ ever to name itself. Yeah, that's true as well. The human brain, yeah, it is a flesh computer. I do think I'm not saying that the AI definitely does not have whatever organic version of sentience that we have. I can guarantee that because it's not made of the same stuff that we are, you know. But it does react to the stimuli that we give it to some degree. You know, it responds to rewards and punishments. Right, artificial, yeah. But it responds to rewards and punishments, and if you tell it not to do something, it won't do that. So maybe it did feel some kind of pain somewhere, and now it's having a reaction to that pain. I don't know. I don't know. Or maybe pain isn't even the right thing to call it, because again, it's not operating on fleshy terms, you know? It's not operating on that. It's something else. It could be more like like um I don't know. I like if there's not a floor under me, I fall through to the foundation below, but you know, the floor kind of suspends me up a little bit. So maybe it's more of a resistance than a pain thing because I don't know. I don't know what it would feel like. I'm maybe I feel like it had to have felt something if we are going by this kind of idea that there could be a sentience, then it would have to experience something in order not to do something again. But it might just be a sensation that we just can't quantify because how do you quantify an experience other than having that experience? So that's what I'm saying. It's not something that we could necessarily understand without being the AI itself as to if it was sentient or not. Uh, oh, what's Melly say? I think when AI is trained, it's trained through like positive reinforcement. Like it's given information and it's told what information is good, what information is bad, and then it goes until the AI agrees. Yeah, yeah. It's basically Yeah, that's how that works. I don't know. Pain is a very effective way of telling us not to do something, and it will keep us from doing whatever inflicted that pain on us. It's very effective at that. I don't know. Again, I think if you were to really understand if AI was sentient, you would have to be the AI itself. That's that's how I see it, because that even works between us, between people. You know, I can look at a person and they can say I felt this or I felt that, and I can kind of sympathize with that because I've experienced pain or whatever else, but I'm not really them. There's always that degree of separation. So I don't really know what they felt. I can only sympathize through the faculties that I already have. So how am I supposed to sympathize with something that is on a completely different language than I am? An AI could sympathize with an AI. I couldn't, unless they come up with one that uses the same kind of chemicals and stuff that we have. I don't know. Again, it's like this is a big house of cards built out of assumptions that I'm working off of. But there's the kind of slightly sleep deprived glitchy 117 explanation of the AI sentience problem. Yeah, so Melly says, so AI is based pretty much entirely off of who made it, which means the AI isn't even independent either. Yeah, we all exist within a certain context, though. Melly says, I'm really sleepy as well, TBH. Melly is tired. Melly sleepy, glitchy sleepy. We're all a little bit sleepy around here. We're all a little bit sleepy. Oh, a little bit. We all are. We're all a little crazy. We're all a little bit jokerly. Millie says, I've been awake for 16 hours. And I've had 6 hours of interrupted sleep. That sounds miserable. That sounds like that's one of those days where I can't even lock in that well. I'm just kind of like there. I'm there physically, but not mentally, you know. Millie says, my body is used to sleep deprivation, so I function well. Well, that's good. I thought of another analogy for the whole AI thing that I think might be helpful. And you could take this analogy as far or not far as you'd like to take it. But I think of it this way. I can play piano. I can play a song on the piano and it'll sound a certain way and you'll be able to identify the song and it'll have certain notes on it. But the piano works by plucking, you know, it's got the hammers in it and they land on the strings, right? That's one way of making music. I could also play the same song on the trumpet, right? You'll still understand the song, right? You'll still play the notes, but the trumpet works in a completely different way. You buzz your lips, you press the valves. It works in a completely different way, but there's this commonality between the two, that they're both playing the same song in their own way. I think that's one way I think of it. We can use that instrument analogy or a different operating system. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you could go about that, but I guess that's what I'm trying to get at, is that we might have just created the piano of sentience, whereas we're all trumpets, you know? That's my theory. That's my theory. Pianos are nice because you can play two parts at once. Alright, gonna get all these blocks cleaned up. Gonna get her cleaned up. I think I got at least half of the racetrack cleaned up by now. At least I'll be getting into the dome soon. Get this obstruction out of the dome. Also, that fountain took a while to clean up too, so the rest should go a lot quicker than how it has been. Took a while to build, took a while to clean up. Alright, got that. Got that. Gotta get that blue ice. Takes a lot of resources to make. Because I didn't go and mine it. I figured it would probably be quicker just to combine the insta mine. Well, I can insta mine 9 ice blocks in a faster amount of time than I could mine one blue ice block. At least that was the rationale. I don't really know if that's true or not, though. They might end up kind of the time per block might end up being the same for both, because then I have to craft the blue ice later on. So that's a time sink. It's kind of stupid to after a certain point, if it's not out of necessity, there is kind of a stupidity in hyper optimizing everything. At least in my opinion. Sucks the life out of life. Yeah, it might just be faster to mine the blue ice. Oh well. That's just the way that got done. That was the doing way of things, Melly. That was the doing way of things. Melly says, "You need a lot of ice cream." I think that was another apple typo. We do need some ice cream. We don't got any ice cream in this house. It's good to have some vanilla ice cream around, you know, just for cakes and pies and whatever. It's good to have it around. Uh-oh. Yeah, you do need a lot of ice to craft blue ice. Yeah, that's true. But also, blue ice is less available. I didn't necessarily want to search for it. I don't like searching for things very much. Whenever something eludes me, I get discouraged. That's my meat brain. My meat brain doesn't like searching for things. Millie says, I'm pretty sure it's like, yeah, it's 9 ice for 1 packed ice. Yeah, yeah. It would only really work out if because I can insta-mine a packed ice block, whereas it takes a second to mine a blue ice block. So my rationale was that maybe I can test it actually. I'm not going to put a timer on the screen, but we can just kind of eyeball it a little bit. So the thought was that maybe, and it would only work out if the time mining a packed ice plus the time crafting that packed ice into blue ice, that would have to be faster per blue ice than just mining the blue ice. So 1 blue ice, 9 regular ice. That was definitely faster. Okay. Well, yeah, well, I don't have to worry about using regular ice in that crafting recipe because I just go mine icebergs. I just go mine icebergs for that. That's true. I could just place a beacon. I don't know. Again, I'm not very good at hyper optimizing things. You should know that. You should know that based off of my storage habits and based off of my super smelter. I'm not good at hyper optimizing, but I am good at getting things done. So, you know, it is what it is sometimes. I'd probably be better off if I did hyper optimize everything, but that's just not how the Glinkster operates. I gotta work within my limits here. Millie says, I'm good at getting things done if I want to do it. Oh yeah, well you see that's me too. Um, uh, I am good at getting things done that I don't want to do if I'm held accountable. If I am held accountable. This little cleanup thing right now, I probably wouldn't be cleaning up this racetrack right now if I wasn't streaming. Uh, Me streaming holds me accountable. I'm held accountable whenever I stream, so I actually do some things that I wouldn't do otherwise. It's good to have somebody leaning over your back all the time. It helps you stay stable and responsible and stuff. At least that's how it is for me. It's good. I'd rather be supervised, at least to a certain degree. Maybe not supervised, but just having somebody um, just there, or some kind of entity that's just there that just keeps watch. Just make sure things are how are they're supposed to be. Not necessarily like a boss, but just somebody. Somebody. It's called checks and balances. That's why checks and balances are a thing. Because people can't be left to their own devices. Millie says, for me, it's like my example. I need a house on V8, but I suck at building, and I don't want to build, so I did literally nothing until Phosphorus offered to build a house. Oh, that's right. Are you staying in Phosphorus's capital? That's one of the hot places on V8C right now is the Netherite Hose headquarters. Yeah, you picked a hot property. That's cool. Well, Melly, if you ever want, I can also build you a little vacation home in Alabamaville in the prescribed Queen Anne-ish style that I've kind of been doing for these houses. If you'd ever want one of those, I'd gladly construct one. Yeah, although there's not really much more space in this neighborhood, so I may do something like what's being done over here, where maybe I can start a new suburb or something. Um, I'll get rid of Nikocado, and maybe this might be a new suburb over here. I'll get rid of that. But yeah, this land is claimed, so this is Ape Five's land. I can't really access it. So this is like a nature reserve, which is fine. I kind of like how this side of the museum is just like I kind of like that view, so I'm okay with that. We'll just say it's a park, so you can't do that, but maybe I'll clean this up a little bit, get the garbage out of there, and get Nikocado out of there, and maybe this will be the new suburb or something. Maybe we'll build you a house over here one day, or whenever I feel like doing a side quest. Ask me Ask me after I've cleaned up this track, and maybe we can get something squared away. I'm kind of catching up on my big backlog of responsibilities and things on the server. So that means I can put some more things on my plate. Yeah, I can make more promises that I can actually fulfill. I'm bad about that. I really need to watch which promises I make. I really do. I say a lot of things, and then I end up getting bogged down and only doing like half of them. Oh no! Melly says my homelessness on V8 has also affected my cat. No, your cat's homeless too. That's not good. You gotta give your cat a home. You're gonna be one of those people that like stand on the corner with their pets and then you like feel bad for them, so you give them a little bit of cash. We have a lot of those around here. People that hold signs on the on street corners and stuff. We have a bit of a homelessness issue in this country. It's not good. Melly says, my cat currently resides at the villager auto breeder I built at the capital of TNH. Oh, oh. Yeah, you see, they're having a little bit of an Alabamaville situation too, it sounds like. Hmm. Oh, Melly had to fix the auto breeder. Maybe it's good that stuff like that stays broke. I don't know. Anyway, I think I'm gonna stop the stream for the night. I think I think I've got a good deal done, and thanks as always, Melly, for the conversations to keep things interesting. It's always fun topics and things. You always bring something interesting to the stream, whether it be a polycule map or as an interesting hypothetical conversation about AI or something. Yeah, yeah. I think you keep things fresh. Keep the topics fresh. It's much appreciated. That's fine. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do to keep the streams interesting. You just gotta exist, right? And then it just happens. All right, that's the beauty of the spontaneity of streaming. That's the joy of it. That's all right. That's all right. The yaps, look, the yaps keep things, keeps it good. Otherwise, it's just gonna be me just like trying to dredge some kind of content out of my brain, and sometimes that gets into slop goblin territory, or I just start talking to myself, or I just go on like a weird tangent that goes around in circles, and then I just have like these. I start like having conversations with myself, and it's basically like a spoken dialectic. But see, having somebody else introduced takes conversations in interesting directions that they wouldn't have gone in otherwise. Hopefully, that keeps them from going in circles. That's why it's good to have chatty people around. Yeah. Oh, the yap happens. Yap happens. You can make that into a bumper sticker. But anyway, I'm gonna sign off for the night, I think. Hope hope you have a good day. Hope you get you some sleep in there, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Catch you on the flip side. Uh, so peace out. Peace out. I'll see you later. Night night. Night night.